The Mahabharata, Drona Parva, Chapter 1. Dronacharya becomes Commander-in-Chief. King Dhritarashtra inquired, O Sanjaya, after the Kauravas had lamented over the fall of the great Bhisma, what did my sons do, urged on by their fate? Indeed, the grandsire Bhisma was invincible in battle, and was unreplaceable on the front line of the army. Who did my son next choose to lead this great army? Sanjaya replied, O king, after Bhisma had fallen on the battlefield, Duryodhana went to Karna and inquired of him in the following words. Bhisma was our commander-in-chief for 10 days. He achieved great glory and killed thousands upon thousands of men. This was all done fairly. Now that he has about to descend to the higher regions, who, O Karna, should be the commander-in-chief of our troops? Without a leader, this army, which is like a boat without a captain, will sink into the ocean of the Pandavas. Who now is capable to lead my forces to victory? Karna replied, Any one of the Maharatis of your army is certainly capable of leading your forces. All of them are knowledgeable in different kinds of weapons, and are expert in arraying large armies. If one among them is chosen, the others will feel offended. However, the preceptor Drona is senior in years, and is the most worthy of respect. Among all the kings and princes, there is not one who will not accept the leadership of this foremost of bowmen. He is also your preceptor and worthy of your worship. Agreeing with the advice of Karna, Duryodhana went to Dronacharya, who was standing in the midst of the troops. Offering obeisances to his preceptor, Drona said, O sire, among our forces you are the senior by order of birth. You are born of noble parentage and are superior to all of us in learning and intelligence. By your ascetic penances you have realized the eternality of Brahman. Your prowess on the battlefield exceeds all others in my army. With you as its protector, we will feel confident that we will cross the great ocean of the Pandavas. O sinless one, take command of these 11 Akshini divisions of soldiers, and standing in the forefront of my army, lead us to victory. Drona said, I am conversant with the 6 branches of the Vedas, and I also know the science of the Varnashram system. I possess the divine astras and know how to array large divisions of forces. I will display all these virtues for you who are desiring victory. However, I will not be able to kill the Pandavas or the son of Drupad Drishtadyumna, for he is born for my destruction. After agreeing to take command of the huge divisions of the army, Drona was installed in that position, and then prepared for the day's battle. He arranged the divisions in the form of a cart called Shakata. The Pandavas arranged their army in the formation of a crane called Kuncha. Before the battle began, Duryodhana went to Drona and spoke to him in the following words. If you are inclined to give me a benediction, then I request that you capture Yudhisthira alive and bring him to me. Drona replied, Why is it that you want Yudhisthira alive? Why would you not be content with his death? It is wonderful that no one wishes to see his death, and therefore he is known as a Jatashatru. Even you bear this affection for him. Duryodhana replied, If Yudhisthira were killed, then victory would not be mine. If a Jatashatru were slain, then Arjuna would annihilate my whole army. All of them cannot be killed even by the gods combined. If Yudhisthira is brought here alive, then I will challenge him again at dice and send him to the forest for another 13 years. Understanding the wicked intention of the son of Gandhari, Drona said, If Yudhisthira were not protected by Arjuna, then I might be able to capture him. However, Arjuna has become too powerful. It is true that I was first his preceptor in arms, but since that time he has received all the divine astras. He has even received celestial weapons from Lord Shiva and Indra. Therefore he has become invincible. If Arjuna can be allured away from Yudhisthira, then it will be possible to capture the first son of Kunti. If Arjuna can be taken to another part of the battlefield, then without doubt I will bring Yudhisthira to you. When Drona had agreed to the proposal of capturing Yudhisthira, Duryodhana thought that victory was his. However, through spies, Yudhisthira learned of the plan of Duryodhana and assembled his brothers as well as the other kings that supported him. In their presence he addressed Arjuna. You have heard the plan of Duryodhana, which Drona will try to accomplish. This plan cannot be carried out as long as you are near me. Therefore, always stay by my side so that their desires will not be realized. Arjuna replied, Just as the death of Drona will never happen by my hands, so, O king, I will never allow you to be captured by the enemy. The stars in the sky may disappear, or the earth may split into fragments, but still I will not allow Arjuna to seize you. Even if Indra himself leads the army of Duryodhana, I will never allow you to be captured. As long as I am alive, O great king, you will have no need to fear Drona. I have never spoken an untruth, nor have I made a vow that I did not fulfill. After Arjuna had vowed the protection of Yudhisthira, the army was made ready for battle. When the Kaurava host attacked the army of the Pandavas, there was a great slaughter on both sides. The invincible Drona began to afflict the ocean of the Pandavas with his powerful bow that released thunderbolts of lightning. Coming up to challenge him was Yudhisthira, supported by his vast army of Ratas and Maharatis. They challenged the preceptor Drona, who rode in his golden chariot drawn by red horses. While this encounter was taking place, Shakuni rushed towards Sahadev. He pierced the chariot, the standard, and the charioteer with many sharp-pointed arrows. Laughing at the lack of prowess of the deceitful gambler, Sahadev cut the bow from the hands of Shakuni, felled his standard, and killed his charioteer. He then pierced the king of Gandhara with 60 arrows. Shakuni jumped down from his chariot, mace in hand, and killed the chariot driver of Sahadev. Sahadev also stepped down from his chariot with mace in hand and began to fight with the son of Subal. Meanwhile, the great king Purva attacked Abhimanyu and covered him with a thick shower of arrows. Abhimanyu countered and pierced Purva with 7 shafts, and felled his standard and pierced the chariot driver with 3 shafts. Then Arjuna's son placed upon his bowstring an arrow capable of killing his enemy. However, Kritavarman cut off the arrow and the bow from the hands of Abhimanyu. Throwing aside the broken bow and arrow, the son of Arjuna took up a sword and shield, and descending from his chariot, ran at Purva. Whirling his sword and shield, he jumped onto the chariot of Purva and knocked him unconscious. Abhimanyu raised the king by his hair and was about to kill him. Seeing Purva about to be slain, Jayadratha jumped down from his chariot with sword and shield, challenging the son of Arjuna. Abhimanyu then left Purva alone and jumped to the ground. Many warriors then released lances, arrows, and scimitars to encompass the death of the Subhadra's son. However, Abhimanyu cut all those weapons to pieces with his sword. There then ensued a battle between Jayadratha and the son of Arjuna that was fierce and wonderful. Those two warriors encircled each other and hacked at each other's body, thirsting for victory. When Jayadratha struck Abhimanyu's shield with his sword, it broke. When this happened, the ruler of the Sindhus ran away from the battlefield. Ascending his chariot, the son of Arjuna then began to scorch the divisions of the Kaurava army. Witnessing the defeat of Jayadratha, Salya took up a mighty dart and threw it with all his strength at Abhimanyu. However, the son of Arjuna caught that weapon in the air. Releasing that same weapon, it killed the chariot driver of Salya and knocked Salya to the floor of his chariot. All the Pandavas cheered at the victory of Abhimanyu and exclaimed, "Well done, well done." Salya then stepped down from his chariot and rushed at Abhimanyu to kill him. Abhimanyu also stepped down from his chariot and rushed at Salya. However, Bhima appeared on the scene and asked Abhimanyu to step aside. Then those two bulls among the Kshatriyas began to whirl their maces, which looked like streaks of lightning. Both maces were made of iron and had the power to slay hundreds of warriors at a time. Both warriors were extremely angry, and both began to beat each other with all their strength. Although both managed to hit the other with their upraised maces, still neither appeared hurt or injured. Highly enraged, they rushed at each other, and with all their might they struck each other at the same time. Falling under the blow of Bhima's mace, Salya fell senseless. Bhima also fell from the blow of Salya's mace. At that time the mighty chariot fighter Kritavarman appeared and took Salya up upon his chariot. Bhima was then seen to rise up, prepared to fight with his powerful mace. Struck with fear at the loss of their leader, that division of the Kaurava army ran away in fear. Beholding the army broken, the son of Karna, Vrishasen, single-handedly began to protect it. He released arrows in thousands and began to kill the chariot fighters and horsemen on the side of the Pandavas. Nakula's son Shatanika rushed at Vrishasen and pierced him with 10 arrows. The son of Karna, however, cut the standard and the bow of Shatanika. When this happened, the other sons of Draupadi challenged Vrishasen and covered him with many arrows. Coming up to protect the son of Karna was Ashvatthama. He quickly stopped the approach of the sons of Draupadi and began to afflict them. The Pandavas, with a desire to protect their sons, also came up to fight with Ashvatthama. Both armies met, and the battle was wonderful. Gradually the Pandava army began to break the front lines of the Kaurava host, and the warriors on the side of Duryodhana began to flee the battlefield. Drona called to them, "All you heroes, do not fly away. I will give you protection." Encouraged by the words of the preceptor, that multitude of soldiers returned for battle. Drona then began to rip into the Pandava ranks and kill them in thousands. Having penetrated deep into the Pandava army, Drona was looking for the opportunity to seize Yudhisthira. Kumar, the powerful warrior that was protecting the wheels of Yudhisthira's chariot, stopped the advance of the preceptor by piercing him in battle with 1,000 arrows. Not tolerating that action, Drona severed the head of that great warrior. As Drona was coming closer to the chariot of Yudhisthira, Virata, Drupad, Satyaki, Singhasen, and Vyagradatta, the prince of the Panchalas, attacked him. Vyagradatta pierced Drona with 50 arrows, and Singhasen also pierced him with many arrows. However, Drona released from his bow 2 broad-headed shafts that severed the heads of those warriors. With no one to oppose him, Drona rushed at Yudhisthira. At this time, loud cries were heard from the troops. "The king is slain. Today Yudhisthira will surely be captured by Drona." While these talks were going on, Arjuna quickly appeared on the scene, filling the sky with the sound of the Gandiva bow. He was mowing down the ranks of the Kauravas' army, causing a great carnage. Arjuna suddenly came upon the divisions of Drona, and with his celestial weapons he pierced all those warriors, thus throwing them into confusion. Intent on saving his elder brother, Arjuna was releasing arrows so fast that no one could tell when he pulled the arrow from the quiver and when it was released from his bow. All this happened as fast as lightning. Seeing the prowess of Arjuna, both Drona and Duryodhana ordered the withdrawal of troops for the day. The Srinjayas and the Panchalas, filled with joy over the victory of Arjuna, began to blow on their conch shells and beat on drums. The Pandavas also withdrew to their tents. On the side of the Kauravas, Duryodhana assembled all the kings to assess the day's events. In that assembly, Drona said, "I have told you that when Arjuna is near Yudhisthira, it will be impossible for me to capture him. Although all the great warriors fell upon Arjuna, all our attempts were frustrated. Do not doubt what I say. Krishna and Arjuna are undefeatable. If, however, Arjuna can be separated from the king, then I will surely be able to seize the first son of Kunti. Let someone challenge him and draw him to another part of the battlefield. The son of Kunti will not return till he has defeated his enemy. Meanwhile, while Partha is fighting with his opponent, I will take the opportunity to capture Yudhisthira. In the presence of Dhristadyumna, I will bring King Yudhisthira under my control. This is more beneficial to us than the defeat of the whole Pandava army." Hearing the words of Drona, the king of the Trigartas, Shushraman, said, "In the past, we have always been humiliated by Arjuna. Myself and my brothers have never done any injury to him, yet he always seeks to kill us. Our hearts burn in anger, and we are never able to sleep at night. Tomorrow we will challenge him and take him to another part of the battlefield. We will take this vow today, that either we will kill Arjuna or he will kill us. We will never retreat in battle. Myself, along with my brothers Satyarath, Satyavarman, Satyavrata, and Satyeshu, will challenge Arjuna in battle and slay him. This is our promise." Having made their resolutions, those great kings rested for the night and waited for the dawn of the day when they could fulfill their vows. Thus ends the first chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled Drona Becomes the Commander-in-Chief. Chapter 2 of the Drona Parva, the 12th day of the great battle and the fall of Bhagadatta. Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, my army seems to be incapable of bearing the strength of the Gandiva bow. That chariot which has Vishnu for its driver and Dhananjaya for its warrior, I consider to be incapable of being vanquished by the demigods and asuras combined. How can the sons of Pritha meet defeat when they have the wielder of the Shanga bow for their protector? O Sutta, the celestial feats of Vyasadeva are unequaled by anyone on earth. While Krishna was being brought up in the house of Nanda Maharaj, he made the might of his arms known to the 3 worlds. He killed the Rakshashi Putana while still a small child. In his infancy, he also killed the friend of Kamsa named Trinavarta. He slew the Keshi demon on the bank of the Jamuna. This horse was equal to the celestial seed Uchashrivis in strength. In his childhood, he also killed the great Asura in the form of a bull. The divine son of Devaki has also killed Pralamba, Naraka, Jamba, and Mura, who were the terror of the demigods. And also Kamsa, who was protected by Jarasandha, was slain by Krishna with his bare hands. Krishna then consumed in battle the king of the Surasains, Sunaman, who owned a full Akshahina division of soldiers. Lord Krishna caused the death of Jarasandha, who had the strength of 10,000 elephants, and he also hurled into the sea the demoniac city of Shobha, that was owned by the great king Shalva. He has defeated the Vangas, the Angas, the Kalingas, the Magadhas, the Kashis, the Koshalas, the Vatsyas, the Gargyas, the Karushas, and the Pondras. He who has eyes like those of a lotus has also defeated the Avantis, the Southerners, the Mountaineers, the Kambojas, the Pandyas, the Trigartas, the Mallavas, as well as the Yavanas. He has defeated in battle the great Indra and Varuna, and he has bewildered the creator of this universe, Lord Brahma. We have never heard that there was any one of the many kings that was able to defeat him. O Sanjaya, we personally had the experience of seeing the universal form of Lord Krishna. This happened even in our court. O Sutta, there can never be an end to the infinite prowess of Hrishikesh. Will that Vasudeva, who the rishis describe as the father of all, fight for the Pandavas? Will that Supreme Lord call upon his family members to assist him? Will the heroic Samba, Pradumna, Gada, Akrura, Charladeshna, and Sharana take their weapons and fight with my sons? Will the host of the Yadu and Vrishni houses bring their wrath against my wicked son? Will Balaram, the carrier of the mace and plow, come to the assistance of the Pandavas? If this does happen, then my sons will be in great danger. O Sanjaya, if Vasudeva puts on his armor, there will be none amongst us who can withstand him. Where there is Krishna, there will certainly be victory and fame. Lord Krishna and Arjuna are none other than Narayan and Nara. O Sutta, please tell me how the battle progressed and how ultimately the great Drona fell from his chariot. Sanjaya said, O king, I can see everything with my inner vision. Listen as I describe how the preceptor Drona was slain by the mighty Dristadumna in the presence of all warriors. When the night had passed, Drona arrayed the troops in the formation called Garuda. In the mouth of Garuda was the powerful preceptor himself. The head of Garuda was Duryodhana, supported by the remnants of his brothers. Kritavarman and Kripa formed the two eyes of that gigantic bird. Bodhisattva, Salya, Somadat, and Vyalika, surrounded by a full Akshahini, became the right wing of that formation. Vinda and Anuvinda, Sudakshin, the ruler of the Kambojas, and Ashvatthama formed the left wing of the huge bird. In the midst of that army stood Bhagadat, the ruler of Pragjotishapur. He was riding on his invincible elephant, Supratika. He was surrounded by many kings of the mountainous regions. The Shamsaptakas, so named because they took a vow to either conquer or die, were arrayed in a formation like a half-moon. They were headed by King Shusharman and his brothers. They were intent on conquering Arjuna or dying in the attempt. Seeing this impenetrable formation, King Yudhisthira arrayed his troops in a semicircle. When the day's combat started, the Trigartas challenged Arjuna to battle. When the Samsaptakas saw Arjuna coming toward them, they were filled with joy and sent up loud shouts. The whole sky was filled with their vibrations, and they rushed at the beautiful chariot of Arjuna that was driven by the lotus-eyed Lord Krishna. Smiling all the while, Arjuna said to Krishna, Just see, O son of Devaki, the Trigarta brothers, who are about to be slain in battle. They are exceedingly happy at a time when they should be crying. After saying this, Arjuna took up his conch, the Devadatta, and blew it with great force. Terrified, the Samsaptakas no longer wore a cheerful smile on their faces, but stood paralyzed and motionless. All their animals stood with wide-open eyes and passed stool and urine simultaneously. After they had regained their proper consciousness, they attacked Arjuna with great strength. They released thousands of arrows to encompass Arjuna's death. The son of Kunti, however, cut all those arrows to pieces, and with a broad-headed arrow cut off the leather gloves of Shusharman's brother Subahu. In return, Sudarman, Sudavan, and Subaha pierced Arjuna with 10 arrows each. Enraged, Arjuna killed the horses of Sudanvan, and then cut off his head that was graced with a beautiful turban. With the fall of that hero, the rest of the warriors fled away in fear. King Shusharman quickly rallied his troops and reminded them of their vow that they had taken at the beginning of the day. They once more returned to the field of battle to challenge Arjuna. Seeing them return, Arjuna said to Hrishikesh, Urge the horses, O Krishna, towards the Samsaptakas. They will not give up the battle without dying. Today I will kill all these warriors like a forest fire consumes trees. Approaching Arjuna, that multitude of warriors released thousands of arrows covering the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna then blew on his conch called a Devadatta and released a weapon called Tvashtra. This weapon created the illusion of many thousands of Krishnas and Arjunas on the field of battle. Confused by the illusion, the Samsaptakas began to kill each other, thinking that they were Krishna and Arjuna. They pierced each other, saying, This is Arjuna, and this one is Krishna. Uttering such loud shouts, they killed each other on the field of battle. When the illusion disappeared, the remnants of the army rushed at Arjuna, releasing thousands of weapons. When those weapons filled the sky, Krishna spoke to Arjuna, Because of this dense darkness, O Partha, I cannot see you. Are you alive, O slayer of the enemy? Hearing these words, Arjuna invoked the Vayavya Astra that blew away those vast numbers of weapons. This weapon, presided over by Vayu, then began to carry away in the wind vast numbers of horses, elephants, and chariot drivers, like the wind carries away dry leaves. While in that state, Arjuna severed their heads, arms, and legs. So great was the carnage that blood flowed like a river, and the foot soldiers were ankle-deep in bloody mud. Meanwhile, Drona was also causing a great slaughter of the Pandava troops. When Yudhisthira saw Drona coming near him, he spoke to Drishtadyumna as follows. O son of Drupad, here comes Drona, who is intent on capturing me. Take precaution that he will not capture me. Drishtadyumna replied, O king, you will never be touched by the preceptor. Today I shall check his progress and slay his followers. As long as I am alive, you will not need to fear any anxiety. I have taken birth for the destruction of Drona, and under no circumstances will he be able to defeat me. Having said these words, the son of Drupad rushed at Drona, scattering his mighty arrows. Seeing Drona checked, Durmukha came up to challenge Drishtadyumna and overcame him with many kinds of weapons. While those two heroes were fighting, Drona began to crush the divisions of Yudhisthira with his celestial weapons. Then Drona, seeing Yudhisthira near him, released hundreds of arrows to stop his progress. Satyajit, whom Arjuna had appointed to protect Yudhisthira, released at Drona a celestial weapon that pierced him all over his body. He then pierced the preceptor's chariot driver with 5 arrows and his horses with 7. With his powerful weapons, Satyajit cut the standard from the chariot of Drona and sent up a loud roar. Beholding the feats of the mighty Satyajit, Drona decided to send that Panchala prince to the other world. Drona cut off his bow and arrows and pierced him with 10 shafts. Taking up another bow, Satyajit struck Drona with 30 arrows. The mighty car warrior Virata then pierced Drona in the chest with 60 arrows. Not tolerating this, Drona cut off the bows from the hands of Vrika and Satyajit. With a broad-headed shaft, Drona killed Vrika, and with a crescent-shaped arrow he severed the head of Satyajit. Drona began slaying the foremost of the Pandava chariot fighters one after another. With 9 arrows, Drona overthrew Dhritasena, and with another 20 arrows he killed Chema, the leader of a division of chariots. Making his way toward Yudhisthira, he killed the mighty Chatradev, and another Pandava hero named Vyasadeva. Seeing the Pandava heroes vanquished one after another, Yudhisthira fled to another part of the battlefield. While this was going on, Duryodhana rushed against Bhima. Seeing his arch-enemy coming toward him, surrounded by his elephant divisions, Bhima licked his lips. Attacking the elephant army with great strength, Bhima began to penetrate the bodies of those huge beasts with his powerful arrows. Covered with hundreds of arrows, those mighty creatures either fled the field of battle or fell to the ground dead. Not tolerating the prowess of his cousin, Duryodhana struck him with many sharp arrows. Bhima in turn cut off his bow and his standard and sent up a loud roar like a lion. Coming up to protect the king was the ruler of the Angas riding on his elephant. With a long shafted arrow, Bhima pierced that elephant with great force between his 2 eyes. Passing through the elephant's head and body, that arrow entered into the earth. Hit in this way, the elephant fell to the earth deprived of his life. As the elephant was falling, Bhima cut off the head of the Malecha king with a crescent-shaped arrow. With this action, the elephant army broke and ran away from the battlefield. When those troops had been broken by Vrikadara, the ruler of Pragjotishapur, Bagadat, advanced against Bhima. He was riding on his white elephant Supratika and was highly enraged. Seeing him coming, Bhima got down from his chariot. Within a twinkling of an eye, that mighty elephant crushed with his 2 front legs Bhima's chariot and horses. Bhima ran under the elephant and began to pound it with his bare arms. The elephant, greatly pained by the blows of Bhima, began to whirl around, trying to crush Bhima with his feet. The son of Kunti then came out from underneath that huge creature and stood facing it. Supratika grabbed Bhima around the neck with his trunk and threw him to the ground. Upon being picked up again, Bhima freed himself and once more ran underneath the elephant. This elephant was no ordinary elephant. It seemed invincible and could not be slain even by Bhima. Bhima ran out from underneath the elephant to a distant place, waiting for the arrival of his own elephant army. Soon the king of the Darsharnas, riding on his mighty elephant, came forward and attacked Supratika. Supratika, whirling around, ripped open the flank of that huge elephant and killed it outright. Then Bagadat, with 7 lances, killed the king of the Darsharnas as he fell with his elephant. Witnessing the death of the great king, Yudhisthira surrounded Bagadat with his foremost chariot fighters and began to afflict that elephant with many arrows. The ruler of Pragjotishapur was unmoved by the large number of great Maharatis that surrounded him. He urged his elephant toward the chariot of Satyaki. A gigantic elephant came out of that circle of chariots and with his trunk seized the car of Satyaki. Satyaki quickly jumped to safety, but the elephant raised his chariot high in the sky and smashed it to the ground, horses and all. The mighty elephant then began to grab the chariot fighters and throw them to the ground. Bhima once again attacked the huge elephant, rushing toward it on his beautiful chariot. However, Supratika covered the horses with water from his trunk, and the horses reared and took Bhima away from the battlefield. The son of Kriti, Ruchi Parvan, mounted on his chariot, quickly rushed against Bhagadat, scattering arrows in all directions. However, King Bhagadat dispatched that great warrior with a single shaft to the abode of Yamaraj. Coming up to stop the progress of Supratika were Abhimanyu, the sons of Draupadi, Chekitana, Dristaketu, and Yuyutsu. When those great warriors came within reach of the elephant, Supratika stepped on the horses of Yuyutsu, crushing them into a heap of bones, flesh, and blood. The gigantic elephant then grabbed the chariot driver and dashed him to the ground, killing him. Yuyutsu ran away to a distant place, completely helpless. Beholding in the distance a huge dust cloud, and hearing the wailing of the troops, Arjuna spoke to the lotus-eyed Krishna. O slayer of Madhu, it appears that the ruler of Pragjotishapur has created a great slaughter among our troops. I think that he is the foremost of the elephant warriors in this world. His elephant appears to be divine, and no other elephant can compete with it. It appears to be immune to all weapons, and fire cannot harm it. Without doubt, it will destroy our army if not stopped. Except for us, there was no one who was capable of vanquishing that creature. Go quickly to where Bhagadat is, for I will kill him and his great white elephant also. Following the orders of his devotee, Lord Krishna began to draw the chariot toward the place where Bhagadat was. However, the Samsaptakas again challenged Arjuna to battle, and would not let him go. Arjuna decided to finish the task of killing the Samsaptakas, and he invoked the Brahma weapon, upon which hundreds and thousands of arrows began to rain from the sky. Piercing the bodies of those soldiers, it severed their arms, legs, and heads from their trunks. Falling from their chariots, their horses, and their elephants, those warriors were deprived of their lives. Such was the power of this weapon. Gigantic elephants as huge as hills were seen prostrated on the battlefields, with their sides and heads split open and gushing forth flesh and blood. Having killed thousands upon thousands of warriors with his celestial weapons, Arjuna ordered Lord Krishna, "Go towards Bhagadat." Lord Krishna then urged the horses toward the place where Bhagadat was, but again Arjuna was challenged by King Shusharman. In perplexity, Arjuna inquired of the lotus-eyed Lord, "O thou of unfading glory, this Shusharman again challenges me to battle. Our army is being broken to the north by Drona, and again by Bhagadat. Shall I slay the Samsaptakas or save my divisions from further danger?" Without answering Arjuna, Lord Krishna turned the chariot around and again went into battle with the Samsaptakas. Arjuna pierced Shusharman, the king of the Trigartas, in the chest with 7 arrows. Shusharman countered by releasing a dart at Arjuna and a lance at Krishna. Arjuna cut off the dart and the lance with his arrows, and then with the celestial weapon caused a downpour of arrows upon the chariot of Shusharman. After knocking him down senseless in his chariot, he then scattered the forces of the Samsaptakas, and turning his chariot toward the north, he made his way toward King Bhagadat. When King Bhagadat saw the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna coming toward him, he greeted them with a shower of arrows. Taking up his Gandiva bow, Arjuna cut off all those arrows before they could reach him. King Bhagadat urged his elephant on for the destruction of Krishna and Arjuna. Beholding that elephant coming towards him, Keshava quickly moved the chariot out of the way. Although Arjuna had the opportunity to kill the king and his elephant from the back, he did not do so, remembering the rules of fair fight. Supratika then came upon the other elephants and chariots and dispatched them all to the abode of Yamaraj. Arjuna could not tolerate this and again attacked Bhagadat while riding on his elephant. The king of Pragjotishapur then pierced Lord Krishna with iron-tipped arrows decorated with golden feathers. They appeared like meteors blazing through the sky. Those arrows released from the bow of Bhagadat pierced the transcendental body of Lord Krishna and entered into the earth. Nothing can harm the transcendental body of the Lord. No weapon of this world can harm him, for his body is made of Satchitananda Vigraha, or eternity, bliss, and knowledge. For pastime's sake, the Lord allowed his body to be pierced, but since the spiritual body of the Lord is not under the influence of the material laws, there is no question of harm coming to the Lord. Arjuna then cut off the bow of Bhagadat and killed the men that were protecting the legs of the elephant. King Bhagadat then released 14 javelins that were as bright as the rays of the sun. However, Arjuna cut each of those into 3 pieces, and then the son of Kunti shattered the armor in which the elephant was encased. The king of Pragjotishapur then released a dart that was made of iron and decked with gold. Arjuna quickly cut it in 2. He then cut off the king's umbrella and standard and pierced him with 10 arrows. King Bagadat became enraged and released 2 lances that knocked the crown of Arjuna slightly from his head. Arjuna then placed his crown on his head improperly and said to King Bagadat, "Take a last look on this world, O great king." Filled with rage, King Bagadat took up a golden bow and released hundreds of arrows against Krishna and Arjuna. Partha then cut off the bow and the arrows and pierced him with 72 arrows. Overcome with excessive pain, the ruler of Pragjotishapur became enraged. Using celestial mantras, he turned his elephant hook into a Vaishnava weapon and hurled it for the destruction of Arjuna. However, Lord Krishna rose up in the chariot and the weapon hit his chest, turning into a garland of flowers. Arjuna then spoke to the lotus-eyed Lord. "O Hrishikesh, you are only to guide my horses and not take part in this battle. Why are you not keeping your promise? If I am in a dangerous situation, you may protect me, but not when I am competent to defeat the enemy. You know well that I am able to destroy the host of the demigods and demons." Lord Krishna replied, "Listen, O Partha, to the history and secret behind this weapon. Once upon a time, Mother Earth came to me seeking a benediction for her son, the demon Narakasura. She asked for the benediction of the Vaishnava weapon by which her son could not be slain, even by the demigods and demons combined. Agreeing to her proposal, I handed over that invincible weapon by which Naraka was able to conquer the 3 worlds. This Narakasura or Brahmasura took the earrings of Aditi and conquered the abode of Indra. He also conquered a portion of heavenly Mount Meru. He then went to the abode of Varuna and conquered him, taking his very valuable umbrella. When complaints came to me in Dwarka, I went to the city of Pragjotishapur and killed this Brahmasura. That Vaishnava weapon has been handed down to Bagadat, and he has released it for your destruction. No one can defeat that weapon except myself. It is for this reason that I have baffled it, breaking my promise. Now that Bagadat has been deprived of his weapon, his elephant can now be slain, and you can also kill the king as I killed his father for the benefit of the 3 worlds." When spoken to in these words, Arjuna became pleased and rained upon King Bagadat a shower of arrows. With a long-shafted arrow, Arjuna pierced the huge elephant in the frontal lobe, splitting his head in 2. Although repeatedly urged by Bagadat, the elephant wouldn't move. With his limbs paralyzed, he fell down to the earth, deprived of life. As the elephant fell, the son of Kunti released a crescent-headed arrow that pierced the chest of Bagadat. When struck in this way, the ruler of Pragjotishapur loosened from his grasp his bow and arrow and fell from his elephant. The turban that was decorating his head fell off like a lotus petal falling from a flower. While laying on the ground, decorated with golden garlands, beautiful clothes, and ornaments, the dead body of Bagadat looked wonderful. Arjuna then descended from his chariot and circumambulated that great hero. He offered his obeisances to him, and then ascending the chariot once again, he began to afflict the ranks of the Kaurava army. After King Bagadat had been killed, the 2 brothers of Shakuni attacked Arjuna. They were Vishaka and Achala. One brother released arrows in the front of Arjuna, and the other released arrows from behind. Arjuna killed the horses and charioteer of Vishaka, and then killed the 500 Gandhara warriors, rushing toward him with upraised weapons. The mighty Vishaka then mounted the chariot of his brother Achala, and together they began to fight with Arjuna. When those warriors were standing side by side on their chariot, Arjuna killed them both with a single arrow. Having seen Lord Krishna and Arjuna at the last moments of their lives, they attained a divine destination. Not tolerating the death of his brother, Shakuni came to fight with Arjuna. He was conversant with mystic illusion and caused thousands upon thousands of clubs, iron balls, rocks, shatagnis, darts, maces, bludgeons, scimitars, lances, mallets, axes, razors, and arrows to fall upon the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna then saw asses, camels, buffaloes, tigers, lions, carnivorous deer, leopards, bears, wolves, vultures, and rakshasas rushing at him. Releasing his celestial weapons, Partha pierced all those animals, and they fell to the earth screaming in terror. Then a darkness covered the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna, from which loud voices chastised the son of Kunti. However, Jishnu released the Jyotishta weapon that sent out light in all directions. When the darkness was gone, huge tidal waves of water appeared. To dry up those waters, Arjuna released the Aditya weapon. When those illusions were gone, Shakuni, having no more mystic powers to display, fled the battlefield. Meanwhile, the great Drona was causing a great slaughter of troops on the field of battle. Coming up to challenge him was Dristadumna, Satyaki, and Bhima. Shattering the bows of those great warriors, Drona continued to kill thousands upon thousands of men. Arjuna was gradually making his way toward Drona to challenge him. He was leaving a path of destruction wherever he went. The back of the Kaurava army was broken, and they all sent up screams of anguish. Hearing the wails of the troops, Karna came up to challenge Arjuna. Karna invoked the Agneya weapon and released it at Arjuna, but Partha countered that weapon and released his own arrows for the destruction of Surya's son. Dristadumna, Satyaki, and Bhima also rushed at Karna, but Karna baffled their progress and pierced them with 3 arrows each. Those warriors then released darts at the son of Radha, but Karna cut those arrows to pieces with his own weapons. Arjuna then pierced Karna with 7 arrows, and with 6 more arrows he killed the brother of Karna, named Shatrunjaya. He then killed 2 more brothers of Karna, one of which was named Vipata. Arjuna severed his head in the very sight of Karna. Bhima, jumping down from his chariot, killed with his sword 10 chariot fighters that supported Karna. Mounting his chariot, Bhima then pierced Karna with 10 arrows. Dristadumna, taking up a sword, killed the ruler of the Nishidas, Vridhakshatra. He also killed a king named Charmavarman. Satyaki, taking up another bow, pierced Karna with 10 arrows and cut his bow from his hand. Trying to save Karna from certain death, Duryodhana, Drona, and Jayadratha came to fight with Satyaki. The fighting became fierce, and all the combatants fought reckless of their lives. Infantry soldiers fought with infantry soldiers, and chariot fighters fought with chariot fighters. Those fighting on elephants also fought with chariot fighters, and also foot soldiers fought with horsemen. Soon the slaughter became too great to behold. The whole battlefield became a bloody nightmare, as the bodies of horses, elephants, and men lay everywhere. Heads with bulged-out eyes lay here and there, with their teeth pressed to their lips in rage. The battlefield was so thick with dead bodies that it became impassable, and the chariots, instead of riding on the ground, began to ride on the bodies of slain warriors. When both armies were badly mangled and extremely tired, the sun set on the horizon, and with it the sounds of the conch shell indicating the end of the day's engagement. Slowly both armies retired to their tents and rested for the night. Thus ends the 2nd chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata, entitled The 12th Day of the Great Battle and the Fall of King Bagadat. Chapter 3 of the Drona Parva, the 13th day of the great battle, and the death of Abhimanyu. Dhritarashtra said, "After the fall of the great king Bagadat, O Sanjaya, what was the state of my troops? I think that Dhananjaya himself is sufficient to destroy my army. Tell me, O Sutta, what happened on the 13th day of the great battle." Sanjaya replied, "O king, having been broken by the prowess of Arjuna, and due to Drona having not kept his vow to capture Yudhisthira, your troops were considered as defeated. As they retired for the night, they could only remember the countless merits of Arjuna and his friendship with the lotus-eyed Lord Krishna. They rested that night as if cursed, and spoke little to each other. When the morning came, Duryodhana went to Drona and spoke the following words. O foremost of the Brahmanas, behold the great slaughter of my troops by the sons of Pritha. Allowing this to happen, surely you have marked us down as men to be destroyed. Even though you had the opportunity, still you did not seize Yudhisthira. Without doubt, one who falls within your sight cannot escape even if aided by the demigods combined, much less the insignificant Pandavas. You have promised me a benediction, but you could not fulfill it. One of noble character like yourself is always truthful to his vow in all circumstances." Thus addressed by Duryodhana, Bhardraja's son felt greatly ashamed. Speaking to the king, he said, "O Duryodhana, I have endeavored to the best of my ability to capture Yudhisthira. However, as long as the army of the Pandavas is protected by Arjuna, it cannot be defeated by all the combined forces of the world. Wherever there is Lord Krishna, the creator of this universe, and wherever there is Arjuna, the son of Kunti, there has not been, nor is there one now, nor will there be one in the future who can defeat them. Truly I have always told you this, and it shall not be otherwise. Today I can promise you that one of the Adirats on the side of the Pandavas will die. I will form an array that will be impenetrable even to the demigods. It is known as the Chakravyuha. It will be successful only if Arjuna is taken away from the battlefield. Arjuna knows the art of penetrating this formation, and it will not succeed as long as he is present." Sanjaya continued, "After Drona had spoken these words, the Samsaptakas went to the battlefield and challenged Arjuna, taking him to the southern side of the field of Kurukshetra. In Arjuna's absence, Drona arrayed your warriors in the form of a chakra. Abhimanyu, at the command of Yudhisthira, penetrated that formidable troop arrangement and killed your troops by the thousands. Having achieved the most difficult feats, at last he was surrounded by 6 great Maharatis. In the end, he was extremely fatigued due to battle and was slain by the son of Dushashan. With this great victory, your troops withdrew for the night. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, hearing of the unfair slaughter of the son of Arjuna, my heart breaks. Cruel indeed are the duties of the Kshatriyas, in that cowardly men, desirous of sovereignty, unfairly killed a young boy with their mighty weapons. O Sanjaya, tell me how this young boy defeated my forces so fearlessly by entering into the Chakravyuha. Sanjaya replied, That which you are asking of me, O king, I will describe to you in detail. Listen, O monarch, with attention, as I describe how the son of Arjuna, Abhimanyu, fought with the great Maharatis of your army as if they were toys, but in the end was slain by them. Be still, O king, I shall speak to you of the great slaughter of your kinsmen. Sanjaya continued, The Pandavas are undefeatable in battle, even by the demigods, and are above all fatigue. In righteousness, in actions, in family tradition, in intelligence, in achievements, in fame, in prosperity, there never was and there will never be a king such as Yudhisthira. In the front line of the battle, the powerful Lord Shiva and the son of Jamandagni, Parashuram, and the second son of Kunti Bhima are spoken of as equals. As far as the wielder of the Gandiva bow, Arjuna, is concerned, I do not see an equal to him anywhere on earth. 6 qualities are ever present in the son of Madri, Nakula: reverence for superiors, worship of the Brahmanas, humility, self-control, beauty, and heroism. In knowledge of the scriptures, gravity, sweetness of temper, righteousness, and prowess, the heroic Sahadev is equal to the Ashvini Kumar demigods. All the good qualities that are to be found in Lord Krishna and the Pandavas were to be found in Abhimanyu alone. In firmness he was equal to Yudhisthira. In good conduct he was equal to Lord Krishna. In achievements he was equal to Bhimasena. In knowledge of the scriptures, and in prowess with the bow and arrow, and in beauty of person, he was equal to Dhananjaya. In humility he was equal to Nakula and Sahadev. Sanjaya continued, O king, the preceptor then arranged his forces in the array known as Chakravyuha. The petals of that formation were the invincible Maharatis such as Drona, Karna, Salya, Kripa, Ashvatthama, Duryodhana, Jayadratha, Dushashan, and Bhurishavas. Around those leaders of the divisions were millions upon millions of troops. The Pandavas, headed by Bhima, then approached that impenetrable array protected by Bharadraja's son. Assisting him were Satyaki, Chetitana, Dristadumna, Kuntibhoj, Drupad, Abhimanyu, Kshatradharman, Vridhakshattra, Dristiketu, Nakula, and Sahadev. Ghatakach, the powerful Yudamanyu, the undefeated Sikandi, Udamojas, Virata, and the 5 sons of Draupadi. All came forward to fight with the preceptor Drona, but all were pushed back like the waves of the ocean attacking the beach. The Pandavas were unable to stand before Drona as he released his deadly arrows. The strength of Drona's arms was unbearable, and he was defeating them separately and all together. Regarding Drona as incapable of being defeated, King Yudhisthira put the heavy burden on the shoulders of Abhimanyu. Addressing the son of Arjuna, who was not inferior to Vyasadeva, the king said, O child, act in such a way that Arjuna will not rebuke us upon returning from battle with the Samsaptakas. None of the warriors here know how to break this circular formation which is about to devour my divisions. Only Krishna, Arjuna, Pradyumna, and yourself know how to pierce that array. O mighty armed one, there is no 5th person that can be found to accomplish such a feat. O Abhimanyu, grant us the benediction that we ask of you. Take up your arms and destroy this formation before the return of Arjuna. Abhimanyu said,